Feathers are what set birds apart from every other type of organism, and the arrangement and coloration of feathers can signal a lot about an individual bird's capacity to compete for mates and other limiting resources like breeding territories. And we understand these traits in the context of male organisms specifically, going back to Darwin's theory of sexual selection. But females also often express the same types of traits like ornamentation or elaborate coloration in birds and across a lot of different animals. In birds specifically, there are more evolutionary transitions in female ornamentation than male ornamentation. So it's important to understand where these traits come from in females so we can understand how these evolutionary transitions occur. So that's the inspiration for my study of the white-shouldered fairy wren, which is a species endemic to the island of New Guinea. We're studying this particular species because within a single organism, there's variation in female ornamentation, where we can go to one part of the country of Papua New Guinea and observe cryptically colored or unornamented females. And the other part of the country, we observe black and white colored females that have this contrasting coloration, much like the males, that really makes them stick out in their grassland habitat. So what we initially wanted to determine is if testosterone, which is a trait or a hormone that's associated with male traits generally, especially in birds, is responsible for this transition into becoming more ornamented in this species. So what we initially determined is that ornamentation is indeed associated with testosterone. Those females who are more ornamented are naturally circulating more testosterone. They're also more aggressively defending their territories. But what we wanted to determine is if testosterone is actually causing these differences in females. So I gave unornamented females elevated testosterone in the form of a small implant that raises testosterone for about 2 weeks. And what I found is that females rapidly molted in these white shoulder patches that we've never before seen in this population. And so it appears that testosterone is a big part of expressing this potential ornamented signal. And then what we determined is that once they were molting in these white shoulder patches, they were acting more aggressively in defending their territories. So it appeared that this transition was then being associated with being more aggressive. Ultimately, what we find is that testosterone is producing ornamentation, but it's not producing aggression or territoriality independently of expressing that ornamented plumage. Once that ornamented plumage is being expressed, then we have a more aggressive female defending her territories. So it appears that this hormone is at least partially responsible for this transition to becoming more ornamented, and the trait is functioning in the context of territory defense. We hope this is just one of the first studies to launch a field that's going to help us understand female ornamentation in animals so we can have a unified theory to understanding how these traits evolve. Thank you.